I got asked the question, how do I visualize my success with money? Well, there's no better place to visualize something than having a beautiful red rock mountain behind me. So let's get to it. One of the interesting things that I think was that people always talk about visualization because the movie The Secret came out. People used to talk about how if you visualize your success, you're going to actualize your success. And one of the guys is a friend of mine who was on the show. His name is John Ozeroff. And what he did is he visualized a house that he wanted to live in. And he was so famous for this story that he actually worked really, really hard, built a real estate business called Remax, and made enough money to buy this awesome mansion. I went to it with my wife. We had dinner there with a mastermind group and a bunch of friends, and it was a beautiful place. And he moved in there. He visualized that success. The thing is, he doesn't live in that house anymore. He got rid of it. Now he lives in a totally different place. How you visualize success continually changes, and what you think is success maybe something when you're at a certain stage in your life and something completely different when you're in a totally different stage in your life. And as a result, my goals, my dreams, my desires always change. So I think it's a really interesting concept when people talk about visualizing. And I was questioning, how much do I actually visualize? Well, I know that a lot of how I view life comes from this presentation of how I think things will happen, how outcomes will happen in the future. So when I think about a lot of things that happen in my life, whether it's about business or whether it's like a personal strategy, like if I interact with a certain person and I try to get a certain result, is it going to lead to this result or this result? I'm always thinking about different alternatives. So I guess in one sense, in terms of visualization, I will look at what are the potential outcomes that may happen and visualize those potential outcomes. Very clearly looking at it and thinking to myself, well, this could happen in a very logical sense. Visualize all the things that will happen. People interact with certain people, where it may happen. If I do this kind of thing, what may happen after that? It's kind of like trying to think about things in terms of chess. And I do that a lot in terms of my interactions, just naturally. But when it's something really, really important, I might take several days trying to map out a strategy, how I'm going to interact with things. And I do that on both the business level and personal level, especially when money's involved. Now, one of my friends joined me on a mastermind group I organized at the home of Tony Hsieh. And he asked this guy, because he's a billionaire, how did you decide, or how did you become a billionaire? What's the number one thing that you did when you wanted to become a billionaire? And he said, I decided that I wanted to become a billionaire. Now, that's not necessarily the same as visualization. But when I thought about that question, the only way I could put any context to that was he must have visualized himself so clearly as becoming a billionaire that he thought about all the different logistics and ramifications that he needed to have before he could become that person. And as a result, he actually led his life following all those different steps that he thought was going to lead him down that path. For me, in terms of real social dynamics, I take a lot of risks, but I also take very calculated risks. I look at things and I think, what are the ramifications of me taking this risk, investing my money in this particular budget, or my time in this particular project, or betting on this particular person becoming very successful. And I think about all the different options of what may happen. This guy could fail, I could lose all my money. And if all these different things happen, am I still going to be able to accomplish that path of that clear goal of making RSD a global company? And also help the vision that Owen has, which is this 5 to 10 year path down the line into the future, of making us have as much influence as possible in a very profound way, not just in terms of people's dating life, but in their core of who they are. And that whole process of self-actualization, I think, is really, really important. Yesterday, I was in a mastermind group at the Vegas Immersion Training Facility. It's actually inside the Sapphire Strip Club. And so it's funny because when I say that, people always have these very interesting ways of looking at a strip club. But we actually have this very, very classy place. It has over 100,000 square feet of space. And in it, there's these VIP rooms for Vegas Immersion where we have our training center. And we have a train where every night guys will get trained and go out in the field and what have you. And Luke, who's in Hawaii with Tyler, was, kind of like in a situation where you're teaching boot camps and what have you while I was in Vegas. So I said, you know what, why don't I hold the training facility program tonight at Vegas? But this time I'm going to do is I'm going to invite some of my mastermind members. So I invited 3 guys that I thought were really interesting people to bring up in front of the audience. All of them are business owners, but they're business owners in different industries. One was in personality testing, one was in health and fitness, and another person was in gaming in the sense of video gaming, as opposed to me. We're talking about gaming in terms of pickup. And one of the things about this this place is that it's kind of like a cool place, like visually speaking, aesthetically speaking. For me, when I'm in like interesting environments, I'm surrounded by beauty and all sorts of interesting things. I think for me, it just helps me feel more alive and more engaged. So I guess in that sense, I am a very visual person. When I'm in a natural environment, I remember I made a video at the Venetian, just being surrounded by this beautiful ambiance, a feeling of wealth and just luxury. I think that really allowed me to kind of like get on my roll, get on my game. And I think there was a video I created on money and dating, and it's on my YouTube channel. And I thought it was like my best public speaking I've done in a very long time, because it was about, I don't know, 2 years since I did my last public speech. Now I'm doing it a lot more often because I'm creating this YouTube channel. I'm building RSD Founders Club, and I'm also looking at building us all sorts of business lines. So I have this very clear idea, and it's inspiring. Because as opposed to most of my days over the last few years where I'm maybe on my treadmill desk, making phone calls, being on a computer, typing, just being out in the open, in the beautiful fresh air like this, it's making me alive. I think that just surrounding yourself with interesting people, beautiful environments, travel, all these visually interesting and stimulating ideas will help your creative process of your mind think outside the box. Because the process of creativity, the process of visualizing success, a lot of it comes from just thinking outside the box, continually socially experimenting with things. Now, I came from a family where my mom, she majored in art. She got a master's degree in art. So ever since I was a little kid, she'd create little flip books for me. You flip through the pages and you'll have a story to be told. And then I ended up creating art. Like I remember when I was a teenager, one of the things I did to win an art contest is I took newspaper and I made a giant Chinese lion head out of art, out of newspaper, and I painted it, and then I put it in the Crocker Art Museum. And as a kid, it's kind of cool to have your art in a museum. I tell you this story because it was something that I thought was really interesting, because when I won, it wasn't because my art was really that magnificent. It was that a lot of people were submitting paintings or maybe a sculpture and just creating something a little bit different. That was what made the difference. I know that in success in business, the difference between you becoming massively successful is usually just 15%. That 15% difference is what makes you really, really successful or not. I think this is something that Bill Walsh told me. He's someone who I also do an interview with in my mastermind channel on my Thursday channel. And he really analyzes all sorts of people. I think that was a speech that he heard about from interviewing Michael Jordan while he was doing the Ice Bucket Challenge. But a lot of people, when they think about visualization, they think a lot about the secret in the sense of what it's not meant to be like. A lot of people will come to me, at least back in the day, a lot of people used to come back up to me and say, you know what, I really like what you're teaching in terms of real social dynamics. There's all these cool tactics and techniques and things you could do to get yourself in the field. But I saw the secret and I created this process of visualization. And you know, John Ozeraf and these guys in The Secret, they create this vision board. They take like pictures and they put it on a board. I know that people from Mind Valley, they have this group that used to come there and they take photos and they put the photos into like a vision book, like you create on Shutterfly. And they would charge a lot of money to help inspire you and guide you through the process of creating what they call the ideal vision book. Well, I think that what's interesting about the process of visualization and what it is in terms of like success isn't just a process of visualizing it, because a lot of people who were watching the movie The Secret, they're saying, you know what, all I have to do is visualize it very clearly, I'm gonna get that success. So people used to come to me on live programs and say, I imagined this beautiful woman knocking on my door, and I had a beautiful woman knock on my door. Now I don't think I visualized strong enough because we didn't end up dating. So I'm just gonna keep at it and visualize a little bit stronger, and then maybe it'll get a little bit better. But that's not how it works. Visualization is just part of it. See, visualization in terms of, especially in terms of The Secret, in terms of like the law of attraction, it's like you not just think about things, but you think about things and create those insights, and you transform those insights into what we call actionable insights. Because only actionable insights is that what content really is. When people talk about, hey, is your content good or bad? They're really saying, is this actionable? Is this something that I could actually take action on and actually use in my life? Or is it just something in theory, in principle? Then again, a lot of theories are very, very valuable, especially from people that are trying them and using them in the field, because there's a lot of people who will preach a lot of theories and then they don't actualize on them. And then someone actually does those theories and they work and they're like, wow, that's cool. what I talked about worked. I don't really like talking about theories, especially if I haven't done it myself. And that's why we create real social dynamics based on real world experience. I mean, the big capital R in RSD is for real, because we want to base everything on the field and everything in the field experience. So whereas a lot of people will base a lot of their theories and practices on the inner belief system in terms of inner game that develops that outer game, I'm always in the kind of mindset that that outer game will build that inner game. Now, both work. There's a lot of instructors in RSD itself that'll even disagree with what they want to do. In fact, they'll probably say, yeah, both work, and I do it this way and you can do it that way. And that's great, because how everyone wants to do things is different. But as long as it gets that success result, I think that's what's most important. So if you're trying to visualize success with money, think about how you want to do it. Do you want to get a job as an investment banker and work 80 hours a week and hustle really hard, but get massive amounts of money? Do you want to start a job and have a nice lifestyle business, have an income that generates a certain amount of money so you can have a lifestyle that allows you to still travel and have a nice life? Do you want to establish a family? Budget, track it, and measure it. See, a lot of things that I think are really important are always going to be what we call SMART goals. And the capital S in SMART, because SMART's an acronym, is specific. Then there's M, which is measurable. A is actionable. R is results. And T is about timing. So you're timing it, measuring it in a certain amount of time. So let's talk about that. So in terms of specific, you measure it out. So like I used to have a spreadsheet where I had specific goals. Then I would create a system where I could measure it. Like, is it a numerical thing I can measure? Like if it's, I want to go out and I want to hit the gym 3 times a week, or if I want to go and meet with my marketing team once a week. These are specific measurable actions. Now, the result, I'll check, yes, I accomplished it, or no, I didn't accomplish it. And I'd accomplished it over a certain amount of time duration. So that suspense would be, for me, 1 week, or maybe 1 month, or 1 day. But basically, I would track all these key performance indicators. I do the same thing for my business. This, for me, is kind of like my vision board. And a lot of people won't like using Excel to track their measurements, and you don't have to. I used to do it a lot in a journal. I used to have it written down, and I think some people think it's magical to write in a journal. I know my wife, she likes writing everything down with a pen and papers because it's an easy way to track. It's a lot easier than computers. I prefer tracking things in my Google Calendar, because then I remind myself of random ideas and they inspire me to take different actions. I guess the reason why I like formal education so much isn't because I think the professors are superior. I think that many professors are inferior to a lot of people that are not professors in terms of teaching, because they're spending more time in the field as opposed to trying to just do research. And a lot of the hypothetical research in academia is not based on real field experience. It's mostly based upon theories and interviews and what have you. And I think that's cool. But the reason why I think that a lot of things that I do in terms of my interviews are different than other people's interviews, and why I wanted to create the Thursday Mastermind channel show, is that I'm coming from the standpoint of a businessman who's not just teaching business. I'm coming from the standpoint of a businessman operating a business and then interviewing people about those things that are interesting to me from a business owner standpoint, and trying to relate them to other people that might be business owners, and also thinking from the standpoint as someone who's been in RSD and relating to the standpoint of, yeah, I have these networking skills, and what is interesting to me about this other person is how they develop those skills. In terms of relationships, I love building relationships. I love the success mindsets. I love discovering those things. I think I built a lot of that internally. I just want to take that to the next level. And so, come from the standpoint of someone who's actually doing it as opposed to just a journalist, I think is what made me want to do this. I want to do something a little bit more different. For example, if I want to eventually actually create a product, I'd want to create a product that's about business, but actually doing it in the field. So what we'll do is guys like Todd or myself will meet with businesses and we'll go undercover as sales reps in our organization. We might go to conventions like here in Las Vegas. We'll do cold approach walk-ups to people that are kind of like there to sell things, but they might not be. They might be kind of scared. A lot of people, especially in large enterprise companies, just lay back and expect the money to come to them because people expect, oh, they know their brand. Therefore, they'll just come to me. Now, that doesn't really happen. When you're in these large conventions, people are networking, they're mingling, and you're just hanging out with each other. It doesn't work. So just like a cold approach in a bar or club, we'll walk up to business owners, develop the comfort, trust, rapport, respect, and try to get their number for a day 2. And a day 2, we just try to establish either a longer relationship or use that relationship realizing that you have something they really want and need, and then try to close them down for a business deal. Now, in terms of the reason why I believe a lot of people don't get that kind of success or don't do the cold approaches, is because they don't have the reference experiences. When I talk about visualization, I talk about coming from the standpoint that you have reference experiences. The only way you could really visualize something is that you experiment and you try things that are new. So when you're doing cold approach pickup and you're trying to get success with women, you're approaching lots of women and you're trying new things. In business, you're trying new things in terms of business deals, in terms of your approach for sales, in terms of your approach with your team, and you're mixing it up because you say, you know what, I'm gonna try this, and if it doesn't work, I know it doesn't work. If I try this, it does work, it works. But you're never gonna know unless you try. And there's no way to really visualize something unless you get that experience. That's why people who are hired that are C-level executives, chief-level executives in businesses, they're hired because they have that massive field experience. So get that experience so you can visualize your success. And if you want to get really successful, especially in the business world, because if you want to take your business game to the next level and establish that foundation so that you can accomplish more things in your personal life, like traveling and building a family, etc., get your business game down first, develop that foundation. But in order to do that, develop that field experience. Field experience is king. It's the thing that is the core of real social dynamics. And once you have that field experience, visualization will be no problem at all. Today's show, and every Monday, I do questions that I answer from the comments that you guys provide. And it's only successful if you guys post questions. So please, post questions in the comments below, and I will be reviewing them with my team and using the favorite questions and making some great videos about it. Also, log in on Thursday. Don't rely just on the YouTube notifications. Sometimes it doesn't work. Log in on Thursday and get some of the excellent and epic mastermind interviews I have with some of the most successful people that I know in the world. If you also want to get deeper, check out rsdfoundersclub.com. Subscribe to my channel. If you subscribe, you're going to get a ton of value. And if you also check out RSD Founders Club, I'm also going to give you even more value because I've created a full curriculum. I go over everything from how to build that mindset for success, how I developed RSD behind the scenes. I go into some detail in these interviews and also in the Q&A, but I go into massive detail. I also go into all the details of interviews of the most successful people in terms of the RSD staff, some mentors of mine. I talk about my networking skills and how I developed this massive Rolodex. If you watch this video series I have on Thursday, you'll probably ask, how does Nick know all these amazing people and still has the time to run a global company? Well, I share with you the secrets of how I do that. And if you want to get some sneak previews, I have 8 videos for you. All you have to do is visit rsdfoundersclub.com. Check out these 8 videos, and you'll get a very good idea of what to expect in the membership site, so you can be a part of the tribe. I think it's amazing that people post in the comments of my videos, and they'll say, hey man, create a product, create a program, and teach it to us. Well, I have it. It actually exists. It's existed for a while now. And I'd love to have you join a part of this tribe and get a ton of value and also contribute, because if you are part of the RSD Founders Club, I will personally focus on giving you priority in terms of your questions for my videos I create on this channel and also in the membership site itself. So I hope to see you as part of the tribe. Definitely subscribe to my channel, and thanks for being part of the support that has allowed me to build this channel and also RSD overall. Cheers.